is a big data repository that captures data from different sources in order to understand people in physical world.
At Mobile World Congress, actually, we deployed a number of different use cases that worked beautifully and had excellent results, and actually proved that the proximity is very powerful and also can be beneficial from a revenue point of view. We have a number of success stories when the organizer were able to basically earn 3-5 times more money than the total cost of ownership of the platform, including deployment and maintenance.
With big data, you can profile, you can understand context, you can understand moments, and with that information you can communicate with the user to generate revenue. This is the idea.
And the conversion rates are very high. We had rates from 12% up to 60% of opening rates, click-through rate. And also we were measuring at the same time the complete funnel from how many people we reached, how many people clicked, and how many people physically went to the particular part. So you are measuring performance per dollar. 60%, 65%, I think, of attendees finally downloaded the mobile application out of about 100,000 people that attended conference. So this is a very high radio, okay? And every year we can observe it just increasing.
To the Hitchhiker's Guide to the ecosystem. My name's Steve Statler of Statler Consulting. Our partners in this production are Proxbook with their Proxbook directory and their Proxbook report. And this quarter, their report has been on events and stadiums. And one of the companies featured in the report was MOCA. And I have the two founders of MOCA with me for this week's interview, and Maria Fernanda and Oleg Moracho. And I know I haven't pronounced your name properly, Oleg, but hopefully that was close enough to pass muster. Welcome to you both. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
So you guys are based in Barcelona, right? Are you in Barcelona at the moment?
Yes, we are in Barcelona in this moment.
One of my favorite cities. It's and that is a city that gets very busy around about the time of Mobile World Congress. And I know that was one of your that was the case study that was featured in the report. So I want to talk about that. But before we get into it, can one of you just kind of so you are the CEO and the CTO of MOCA, respectively. Maybe one of you can just give us a quick introduction to what your company does.
Okay. We are MOCA Platform. We are the co-founders. And when we constructed MOCA, we were thinking about the person and how personalize marketing for one person. And we detect that one person, when people move in general in the world, people are constructing a profile, an invisible profile. And we want to discover that profile in order to do marketing for that person or for that specific group of people. Okay. To do that, we need big data, analytics, and technologies to construct that solution for people. And MOCA is that solution. MOCA is a big data repository that captures data from different sources in order to understand people in physical world. With that information, companies can understand movements, profiles, and can connect directly with people via mobile app in order to personalize marketing campaigns.
That makes sense. And the origins of the company are, you had a big data, you both were running a big data company before MOCA, is that correct? It kind of morphed from a big data focus to big data applied to proximity and location. Can you talk a little bit about how that happened? And I'd be interested in hearing a bit about your founding story.
Yes. Oleg and I, we are PhD. Oleg is PhD in parallel computing and PhD in physics. And we were working in the past doing and constructing big data solutions for big companies. And with that solutions, companies could be able to earn money, really money. Because one of the problems in big data is how to extract the value to earn money. Okay? And we always wanted to construct that software solution to solve that big data problem for different industries. In that moment, the proximity solutions and big data were not words that people used, but in this moment, it's a common word. But in that moment, we wanted to construct that kind of solution with algorithms and with technologies, and to construct in order to construct our product for big scale, to give us big scalability. And in the past, we began to work solving problems for energy sectors, for telecommunications, for job banks, for travel industry. And with that money that we earn in that moment, and with the knowledge, we detect the focus where we wanted to go, and was the mobile phone, the mobile apps, the personalization, and the marketing. And in that moment, it was beginning the proximity marketing with the beacons. Okay, and for the reason, we began constructing big solutions for big companies, in order to understand the market, in order to understand the new product we wanted to construct, and to earn money to construct our product.
Right. So yes, actually, we started doing consultancy, big data services. And as you perfectly know, every single company is a different world, although they have common problems. But a specific solution is so personalized. Actually, you cannot scale it out to different companies, right? And we were looking for a solution that you can apply again and again to completely different companies, and that takes their data, actually learns and brings them direct value so they can benefit from it very easily and in a scalable fashion, right? So this was our requirement when we started thinking and actually thinking about MOCA and as a solution for that problem. And actually, mobile phones, actually mobile applications, location, and this context, this is the first time in history, I think, that technology enables the creating a new kind of solutions that can take advantage of all this data. And all this data is completely scalable. So you can apply this really to completely different companies. Okay, and this is actually was the first requirement and one of the milestones and key concepts for us to actually start a product company, which MOCA is now.
So it makes sense to go from consulting and trying to get a product where there's some level of repeatability and scalability, so you're not inventing something new for every client. I'm interested in understanding more about what big data can contribute to proximity marketing. And specifically, I was actually just reading this morning that Xerox PARC, who have this incredible heritage of invention, have got into the beacon business, and they developed this very cool app for people that are traveling on trains to give personalized offers. And so I downloaded the app, and the level of personalization was incredibly crude. And I am just wondering, at a very practical level, what is it that you can learn with big data that can make the interaction more personal beyond what you could do with something that's incredibly simplistic? Which, if I look at the Xerox PARC thing, they invented the mouse, but their beacon solution was very crude. So what is it that big data can add to an experience that I wouldn't get with some very simple rules?
Okay.
Well, I think that big data correctly applied and the right value extracted out of all this, huge amounts of data can be totally amazing. And we strongly believe in this, and we work toward that direction. And I can tell you that one of our success stories here is Mobile World Congress, when we started from very simple case, when we just had a congress, a trade show, huge trade show, with a website and a very simple, initially, mobile application. Mm-hmm. And in the last 3 years, we actually achieved very high level of sophistication, and we believe that actually proximity helped to overall improve customer attendee experience at the Congress. So let me tell you the story from the beginning, right? So, so 3 years ago, we were approached by GCMA and actually companies that work with them to organize the Congress. And this was very, very, very appealing opportunity, as it enabled us to jump from typical pilots lots of companies doing. You buy 10 or 50 beacons and you put them in the 3-4 stores, and you try to see what's the proximity impact, right? Which normally is very, very low, right? And here the context was completely different. We had from scratch 100,000 attendees, 5 intensive days, basically all IT and mobile industry worldwide coming to a single place, about 250,000 meters square of space, and 2,000 exhibitors, overwhelm of information, right? So in this context, when you think about attendee, and then you can also think as an exhibitor, so what are the typical issues both have at the Congress? So from one side, people come to the Congress and they are interested, to get entertained first, to see what's new, what are the gadgets, what's really, trendy, and so you don't want to miss anything. Okay, so you need kind of a guide that will help you to ensure that the most important points for you, all right, are checked. So actually, you visited them and you enjoyed them, right? So every single person, this list, if you imagine, is completely different, right? The profiles are different. The needs are different. People come from making business, so they want to meet particular people. Okay, and obviously, if you think as a mathematician or as we used to think here, so what is the optimal set of people you should meet during these 5 days, and when and where? Okay, so that you can maximize your benefit of the visit. Okay, so if you think as a trade show this way, it gives you a number of opportunities, and usually you can provide to people. On the other hand, if you are an exhibitor, obviously you want to target the right audience. You want your message, your products, your offers to reach the correct people, and you also want to meet them. And traditionally, what you do is you spend your budget on trying to reach everybody, and then you maximize the number of people, expecting that the right person will catch the message.
Yeah,
proximity here is not the definite solution, but it's a huge step forward, actually achieving both goals, right? So at Mobile World Congress, actually, we deployed a number of different use cases that work beautifully and had excellent results, and actually prove that the proximity is very powerful and also can be beneficial from a revenue point of view. Okay, so just let me give you some examples, right? So imagine that you're a CEO coming from London to Barcelona, you have 5 days ahead, and the first thing that happens to you when you land in Pratt Airport, okay, is that you're out of internet. I mean, you say, okay, roaming off because it costs a lot of money.
Right.
What's that? It's normal. It's usual. Okay, and the second, the Wi-Fi not always works, or maybe you don't want to pay for it. Okay, so you're at the airport, and the organizer of the event, GCMA, is willing to welcome you in a personalized manner, and is willing to give you hints so your stay is better. Okay, so MOCA, for example, was able to solve that problem. No connectivity, low location precision, and yes, we were able to detect the presence of the person after leaving the plane. And for example, deliver messages like grab your badge at the airport, at terminal, save 2 hours of waiting time in the queue in the first day. So this was both useful and welcome by users.
So how could you figure out that I was at the Barcelona airport if I wasn't actually connected to the cellular network?
Right. Yeah. So actually, these are one of the key components, key technological components of MOCA system. So one of the first things we took into account when designing the platform was that the beacon itself is just a part of the story. And you just cannot just focus on this, all right? The context is a much broader concept, and you need to know who the user is, so you need to know its profile, and also the geolocation as well. So MOCA takes into account geofencing and geolocation technology of the phone itself, which can be based on GPS, can be based on cellular tower triangulation, all the location services that just the smartphone provides you today, like iOS and Android. Okay, and just taking advantage of this technology, you're just able to detect that you just landed from the plane and you're at the terminal, right? It may require beacons, but it doesn't require them. Okay, so this is the way. And then providing the content, because we have the moment, we have a user, okay? And then imagine that we are targeting only English speakers, okay? So just the phone tells you that this is a English language because you configure your phone this way, very simple. But then how do we provide full screen content when there is no internet connection? So if you think of it, there's lots of solutions that just work doing exactly that. For example, Dropbox. So you synchronize your content. You just download this when you have connectivity to your mobile phone, and just this content just pops up in the correct moment. So this is how it works actually. So we continuously synchronize the content with the cloud.
Because in one sentence about your question,
Yeah.
big data techniques and technologies in the proximity ecosystem is very important because with big data you can profile, you can understand context, you can understand moment, and with that information you can communicate with the user to generate revenue. This is the idea.
And what sort of, so you talked about profiling the user, is that something that was available to the organizers of Mobile World Congress? What sort of data were they able, so part of the point of profiling is that the user gets a better experience, but also you want the owner of the venue, the client, to understand more about what their customers are doing. What kind of information do I learn as an event organizer that I might not know without this technology?
Okay.
Right. So the key point here is actually not only what kind of information I learn, so not only the data enrichment, which is one part, okay, but also the fusion of data. Okay. So by integrating systems, so there is a registration system, there is LinkedIn accounts, etc. So there's all this profile information that the organizers are using. Okay. So you're able to actually merge the CRM data with location data and website and mobile phone. So you just create a unique view, a holistic view of a person. And then MOCA provides this unique feature to give you location insights. So you may know that when you are at a particular place, when you move from airport to your hotel, or when you enter the venue, or how exactly you move inside the venue. So for that purpose, we deployed indoor location solution as well. So this gives you ability to see a floor plan on your mobile app and see blue dot navigation and know exactly where you are all the time. So basically we had a map of more than 2,000 exhibitors, and your exact location with I think average precision was lower than 3 meters. Okay.
But one important part here is that we don't only connect data, but we can infer profiles with the movement.
Okay. This is very interesting part here because it's not only about tracking GPS points, it's about understanding where you are and how much time you spend there. So imagine that you just are moving between different stands, which are different exhibitors. And these exhibitors, like IBM, Cisco, and they're classified like hardware providers, network companies, cloud solutions providers, etc.
Right.
And you just can study the interests of people by just tracking their location during the visit. So you actually infer this information, and this can be directly used to enhance the user profile.
So what data did the different stakeholders have access to at Mobile World Congress? So if I was an exhibitor, could I get insights from this system, or was that just something that the organizers saw? You've got some wonderful heat maps that you show on your website. Was that part of what the MWC stakeholders saw? Can you give me a sense of that?
Right. Actually, the exact scope of the services we provide for our customer, which is Fira de Barcelona, is disclosed. Anyway, we can explain in terms of the scope of functionality we provide. So in these terms, we characterize audience in general with the objective on understand the mobility of the audience. So the organizers are interested to know when people come to the city, how they move, what parts of the city they stay, and how much time they spend in the venue, and all these kind of mobility-related characteristics and metrics they want to measure to understand what's the best way of using the space and how to improve the feature conferences. So all this kind of location-based analytics is a key part of the offering we provide to them. We provide to Mobile World Congress and actually to any trade show organizer.
So going back, maybe we're not talking specifically about Mobile World Congress, but I do have people that ask me questions about what's achievable. So I'm really keen to get a clear understanding of, if I'm an exhibitor at a trade show, what are the benefits? What's the data I get? I mean, one of the benefits is hopefully I'm getting the right people showing up on the stand. So it's not just more people, it's more of the right people. But can I get data about what kinds of people are arriving? What data do I get as an exhibitor?
Right.
Okay. Due to the fact that we measure microdata for every person in the Congress, during the Congress and after and before the Congress, and we track that information, all the proximity campaigns are exactly measured. Okay? And for that reason, if some exhibitor buy a proximity campaign, they can receive the exact information about how many people were using the mobile app in that moment, and how many people were in the stand in some determined moment when the customer wants. Or
Exactly. Right. So in terms of benefits from an exhibitor point of view, you're actually getting exactly two benefits. The first benefit is that you can understand the people that visit you and are actually interested in your products. It can go down to particular product lines, because you can actually put sensors inside your stand, okay, and then you can tag people when they spend some amount of time looking. If you have tablets, smartphones, etc., you just tag people by their particular interests, and then you're given a tool that enables you to retarget those people, next week or day after their visit, with their proximity campaigns, because you perfectly know that they showed interest in particular products. This would be one part of the solution. The second is we call it MOCA attraction, and this is kind of a campaign we designed to attract people to come to your place. Okay, so how this is performed. So this is a service you buy as an exhibitor, and this is commercialized by trade show organizer as a service. Okay, so you're buying your meter square, you're buying your marketing ad on the wall, and then now you're buying a proximity marketing as a service. Right? So for example, imagine that you run your campaign, your personalized content that will pop up as a push notification message at 9 in the morning. At the main entrances, when there is thousands of people, but you may want to target only CTOs of certain countries. So you're able to do that exactly, right? You reach those people, and the conversion rates are very high. We had rates from 12% up to 60% of opening rates, right? Click-through rate, right? And then the people just get a full screen creativity, very nicely designed, so it's attractive. And this creativity invites them to go to a particular stand and see a solution or a product. And also we were measuring at the same time the complete funnel, from how many people we reached, how many people clicked, and how many people physically went to that particular part. So you are measuring performance per dollar, actually, of that solution.
Those are some terrific metrics that you've shared. And it seems like one of the biggest challenges we have in our industry is we can, for those of us that are focusing on mobile apps, is getting people to actually download the mobile app, and then once they've downloaded it, to use it. I can't imagine a better conference than Mobile World Congress to get people to do those things. So that's wonderful for you guys. I'd be interested, can you just share what proportion of the visitors actually use the app, and overall what kind of conversion rates? You've shared some of that information, but is there any more data that you can share?
Well, actually, yes. So GCMA shared this information this year. They published about 60%, 65%, I think, of attendees finally downloaded the mobile application. Out of about 100,000 people that attended conference. So this is a very high ratio, okay? And every year we can observe it just increasing. But you're right, this is a very specific conference, a very specific audience, okay? And obviously, these rates for different conferences are completely different. They may be as low as 20%, okay? But if you look at this, if you look at different mobile applications that makes your life more useful, and if you go to different verticals in trade shows, if you go to travel space, lots of people are using, airlines travel applications. So you can search, book, and you can be informed of gate change or where the luggage is. Right. So these transactional apps you can use all the year, not only the Congress. Okay. They have very, very high conversion, high percentage of audience that is using mobile apps, and they're slowly migrating to web only to both platforms. Okay? So, right. So this is the context where actually the proximity is highly useful, and it has direct impact to the revenue of those companies.
Well, and I think as conference goers, we're starting to be trained that there's a mobile app. We should expect a mobile app, and we should look to use it. Maybe a couple of years ago, it was a novelty, and most people didn't think to do it. Now, I think people think, well, I don't want to be carrying a big guide with me. I just want to use my phone, and so I think that is a very positive trend for you guys. Can we talk a little bit about the business structure for this? And you don't need to describe specifically Mobile World Congress, but if I was a conference organizer, I had been simplistically thinking, oh, I need to pay to have this app, but it actually seems like this is potentially a revenue generating opportunity. This is something that I can do to get some incremental revenue and add some incremental value for the exhibitors, who are one of the main sources of revenue for me. So what should I expect as a conference organizer? Is this going to cost money, or am I going to make money from investing in this kind of service?
That's an excellent question. We are asked multiple times. Yeah, so actually, in MOCA, we've been working on trade show space for 3 years now, and actually we were able to package the solution to address different needs. Okay, so we have 3 packages today for we call it premium events, the MOCA for premium events. And the first thing we address is engagement. So if your objective is to improve your attendee experience at the conference, you buy this package, and we enable you with the lowest cost possible, actually, to better reach your audience with campaigns, with messages, with beacons, etc. Number of features. And obviously, this is a cost for you, and your benefit is that more people will become more happy, and eventually they will come later back to you. The second package we have is called Monetize. So it's direct response to your question, right? So the Monetize is, okay, so how can I use this technology to make money? And the answer is very simple, because the event organizers, they make money basically by selling services. One of the key services in Meter Square, they sell to exhibitors. And now we just tell them, okay, so why don't you sell digital space as well? Okay, this is very useful tool you have, and it enables exhibitors to reach audience in a new ways with using new channels. In this particular terms, using mobile channel. Right? So we have a number of success stories when the organizer were able to basically earn 3-5 times more money than the total cost of ownership of the platform, including deployment and maintenance.
So you can make money as well as deliver a better experience for your visitors. Let's talk a little bit about your partners. You've been active in there, and it's clear that you don't deliver the kind of solution that you've just described, doing everything yourself. You mentioned LinkedIn. Do you integrate with LinkedIn in order to do some of this personalization, or was that an abstract?
Not directly. So normally, our experience showed us that different mobile applications, they have different ways of actually integrating with social networks or their existing CRM systems, etc. So we didn't want to go that far, and so we just have in MOCA an API that enables a mobile application to pass us any information that is in hands of the application itself. So this works beautifully in lots of scenarios, because we don't need to handle any privacy sensitive data. MOCA stays out of that scope. It's very simple. We identify users by just ID and a set of attributes. Okay, and this is you as an application owner to decide what attributes that you have you want to share it with us, and what attributes you want to use for targeting or for better analytics. Okay, so this enables us to work with a number of different CRMs like Salesforce, Oracle, etc.
Okay,
and being independent at the same time. Right.
So let's talk about beacons. How many beacons did you have at Mobile World Congress?
Right. So in the venue, we run a network a bit below 1,000 beacons.
Okay.
And it's normally the idea is not to maximize the number, but just go down to minimize the costs.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, this number is huge because of the requirement of being able to provide indoor location. Okay, which is completely different thing if you compare this to proximity. We would need 100 beacons to cover all key strategic locations like entrances and hotspots, etc. And this would be enough. But indoor location requires you that every single place you have a visibility signal from at least few beacons, and then you're able to give you exact indoor location. Okay, that's the reason.
And the beacons, so were these Polestar beacons that you were using at Mobile World Congress, or different?
Different providers.
Right. The key beacon used for indoor location, and this is Polestar technology. And yes, we are using their beacons.
Okay. And somewhere like Mobile World Congress, I don't know what the connectivity is like. It's normally a struggle to get good connectivity at these trade shows.
Right.
So were the beacons just configured as iBeacons, or were you using some kind of conditional access, rotating the UUIDs and so forth? Which of those were you?
Okay, so actually, as MOCA, we are not actually a hardware manufacturer. We are not working on firmware of devices.
Right.
Only MOCA is beacon agnostic.
Right.
Anyway, the requirements of such specific, location by its size and the volume of audience require some specific, very, higher level requirements, or I would call it industrial requirements for beacons. So in this case, this is Polestar, which is very specialized, and they are designing and manufacturing beacons that are both scalable and secure. So there are a number of ID rotation schemes they implement, etc. Yes.
But my question really is, the ID rotation normally requires access to the cloud, and on a trade show floor, quite often you can't get to the cloud because there's just too much traffic. So I'm wondering how you solve that. Do you solve it by saying, hey, anyone can see these beacons, or is there some other way that you solve that problem?
That's correct. There is some other way of solving the problem, and it actually doesn't require internet connection to work.
Okay, very good. And one of the other beacon companies that it looked like you had a partnership was G-Cell. Could you talk a little bit about them and why you're working with them?
Yes, you said they are a company in London. They have solar beacons, and they want to provide a complete solution to the final client. For the reason, we did with them a strong partnership in order to integrate technologies to solve the problems for the final clients. And when some clients buy diesel beacons, they have all the solution, the platform, the beacons, the analytics, the technology, and the marketing.
Right. Yeah, so the G-Cell is, they're specialized in solar technology, okay, and the beacon is one of the products they have in the product line. And it's very interesting for all of us that work in the proximity sector.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting because actually one of the biggest barriers of deploying beacons is the fact it's hardware. So we live the online world when everything can be actually executed in the cloud. You don't need to physically go to places, and there is no maintenance costs. Okay, the beacon introduces this, and this is one of the serious issues when you think of deploying beacon network on scale, right? So solar beacons has this unique feature of install and forget, because they are able to continuously get energy from solar source, and you don't need to go to replace battery. You don't need to go, to check the battery level. So all these additional costs that are incurred, are completely minimized. And it's very interesting because we were actually surprised when we met G-Cell, because they were able to work indoor. So you don't need solar, you don't need sun to work.
Right.
Right.
So the theory sounds great. What I'm interested in is what the practice is. Does it actually work, is my question, I guess.
Absolutely, yes. So we did certified G-Cell beacons in our platform. One of the first things we did is, test protocol we have designed for every single beacon manufacturer. We test here in the lab. And yeah, so the difference is huge from different beacons. In particular, we were surprised by two characteristics which are unique. The first is that if there is no light, it just stopped emitting immediately. So there is no battery inside.
Really?
It's light, yes. Okay. Which is interesting because if you think when this can happen at night, for example,
Yes.
who needs beacons working at night? It's not necessary at all, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. And the second is that the normally beacon emit with a 100 millisecond frequency or lower, and normally this is lower to make your lifetime of the battery longer.
Yes.
Right? And they are unique as they don't have this problem. They are able to emit with higher frequency, which gives you that at the smartphone you just get more frames per second. The signal is more stable. Okay, and for example, for indoor location, it's very interesting alternative as well.
And so, can they do that supporting iBeacon? Do they support other protocols as well? Is there like Eddystone, ephemeral IDs, and I imagine that would consume more battery to do the kind of encryption and so forth.
They are working with iBeacon. They're iBeacon compatible.
Yes.
I don't really know if they are working now on Eddystone. It's out of our knowledge.
Okay.
I guess, but just by driven by demand, this will give us an answer.
And from the business point of view, I just said it's interesting for us too, because there are a lot of demand of that solutions in a smart cities ecosystem.
Oh, yes.
And for smart cities, the solar beacons are very, very important.
Okay. And this gives also the opportunity to showcase a little bit custom branding feature of MOCA. So this is one of the things that many partners of MOCA ask us. So how can I demo the proximity solutions for my final customers with my logo, with my branding, etc. Okay. So actually, we are not white labeling MOCA. We are actually custom branding. It means that you can put your branding, and this is powered by MOCA technology. Okay. And Giselle is one of the examples. So you get a fully customized domain, URL, and login with the colors, logo, and everything. And then you're able to actually add your hardware product, pack it with a MOCA platform, and very easily make your customer try your hardware.
Very cool. Maria, you mentioned smart cities applications there. What are the kind of use cases and applications for your platform with smart cities as opposed to supporting events?
Okay. In smart cities, there are different concepts that we need to integrate to provide the final solution. First, the IoT ecosystem, where you have sensors, where you have Wi-Fi, where you have beacons. Second, the personalization with the visitor in the city, with the resident in the city. Third, the marketing part. The marketing part is where you need some information to the final client with good marketing. In that part, we work with marketing partners, for example, with Ogilvy and Isobar in the United States. Okay, and that part and that solution, complete solution, gives us the possibility to construct a complete solution for the final user. For example, we have a case here in Spain that is Benidorm. In Benidorm, they have an app, and with the app, the tourist is constantly informed about news in the city, about different places in the city where the user could be in some moment. And imagine that you are alone in a mountain near Benidorm. You can receive information about that mountain in that moment, but we need to complement with different kind of technologies. And smart cities in general terms need that kind of solutions.
Right. Yes, the smart city related solutions, they require high level of integration with existing systems. So this also is happening in retail. So everybody in retail and smart cities, they have Wi-Fi networks. They are widely available. And many people want to know when the people are. So they need a kind of a heat map. And that's one of the features of MOCA. So we realized that just by generating heat maps with beacons, or even with the fine-grained indoor location technology, is very nice, very cool, but it's not enough because maybe 80% of your audience, they don't have an application, right? So this is when the Wi-Fi kicks in and just increases your coverage. So you're able maybe to cover 90% of visitors. It's just enough that you have your smartphone and you get tracked anonymously, obviously. But at the same time, if you need to communicate with the person, you need the application in the phone, right? So, but combining both technologies, you get the full spectrum. So, for example, what we do is we integrate with solutions like Cisco Meraki or CMX Analytics that enables us to interchange data flows and present to the final customers, Wi-Fi-based heat map, and on top of it, for example, mobile-based heat map. So they have full information which is today available.
So where are we in the development of smart city infrastructure? I mean, it's very hard for government, certainly in the United States, government moves very slowly. Have you actually, so is the Benidorm example, is that actually deployed, or what stage? Okay, so there's actually a Benidorm app which is location sensitive, and that is paid for by the local city, or what's the commercial?
The local city and for the administration, because they need to understand the visitor in the physical world, and they need to impact the visitor, and they need to construct a complete platform to understand mobility in the city. Mobility is with people, with cars, and with different kind of sources that can complement that solution. Right. The first part, they are using MOCA, but they are going to complement.
Right. As you said, we are at a very early stage of smart cities.
Yeah.
It's a new concept, and it's still under development. And the majority of projects are pilot projects, or some more serious deployments going on. And we just hope that in the following years, this will just increase and actually become a reality.
So I can imagine a city app, and as a tourist, and Benidorm has lots of British tourists, I know, so which is a double-edged sword, good thing and a bad thing. So I can see some utility from the tourists, why they would use the app, and I can see why the city would want to understand more about where people are moving. How close are we to the hotels and the restaurants in Benidorm being plugged into that system? Is that happening now? Is it going to happen in the future?
Okay, the idea here with the small hotels and restaurants is that they could have a new channel to communicate with the final user. And with the Benidorm, for example, with the Benidorm app, they have that new channel because they can connect with the final user and they don't need their own app. That is the problem that we were talking about a few moments ago. Okay, and I think that in the future, the big apps will be the new channel for the restaurants, for the hotels, and the marketing campaigns will be more extensive and more democratic in that way, because I can connect with different apps to connect with the final user. And proximity is excellent in that way, because if you put beacons or if you put your fences in some place where the hotel is or where the restaurant is, you can attract people with different products and with new products and with low costs.
Right. Actually, I think that the key point here is the question: so who owns the audience, right? It's a big battle, worldwide battle, and obviously cities are interested in being the owner of their own audience, right? And I think this trend will spread a lot, and there is lots of technology that will enable that. And obviously, they use, but they also want to compete with Facebook, Google, and other big players for the audience, right? Because this enables them to actually make their local economies stronger and build local connections and local ecosystems. And I think this is one of the directions that may happen. Right? And this is different to internet and to everything is online, because you need physical devices, you need physical location services and maintenance and people and teams to work together locally to provide such services.
And they are competing with Facebook and Google, not only for the audience, but for the knowledge of the audience, for the analytics, because they don't have analytics. And with MOCA, you have analytics in the physical world.
Yes, I think the data ownership is going to be very, very interesting, because everybody feels like they own it. If I'm the consumer, I feel like I own my data. If I'm the venue owner, if I'm the city, then I feel like I own the data. The retailer wants to own it. And maybe if I'm a CPG company and a brand and I'm paying for the promotions, then I feel like I should have access to the data. So resolving that and also keeping track of who can see what is a big challenge.
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's the goal of the century, right?
Yes, very good. Well, good luck in solving that. It's been fantastic talking to you both. I'm so pleased that we could talk to a company that's led by a woman. I feel bad. This is probably our 12th or 13th episode, and you're the first female CEO, so we're going to try and do better. And we did have, so The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Ecosystem is kind of the companion book, and we had two female contributors there who did a fantastic job on our RFID and our programmatic advertising section. So here's to seeing a stronger female influence in our ecosystem. So very good. Maria and Oleg, thanks very much for your time. You guys are doing some really interesting work. Congratulations on the company.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Great talking to you. Actually, going back to your question about music and Mars, right?
Right.
I think it will be very simple for me. Basically, I'm a musician myself. I started with piano and then changed the keyboard, Okay. But I think the good vibe is very important. So this is motivation that drives to do things, right?
Yes.
But your question is very simple. So I just tell you, Shania Twain.
Shania Twain, okay.
The Beatles, okay. And Joseph Triani, which is hard heavy metal, which he's a I think #1 guitar player in the world, in my opinion. Okay, and this gives enough energy to do anything you need to do, right? So this would be my answer.